Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Guile here, and welcome to another Supreme Commander epic after what can only be described as an epic break in programming. I've been busy dying, or more or less dying. People always saying to me, Guile, why do you always get so ill? Well, I'm telling you, it is the little petri dishes of doom that bring home bugs. They drop lollipops on the floor, or rather their friends drop lollipops on the floor, and they decide they don't want it anymore. Then your kid wanders along, thinks, I'll have that, picks it up out of the earth and puts it in their mouth. And then doesn't tell you until later on. You say, why have you got that lollipop stick? Why are you carrying that around? And then you find out where they got that and ate it. And then you wonder why everyone gets sick. Seriously, it's been so bad. My 10-year-old was sure that the quarantine procedures at the airports had all failed and we'd somehow managed to contract coronavirus. It tells you a little bit about how dramatic we've all been doing. But I kid you not, you realise just how often you've actually thought you've had the flu. It was really just a really bad cold when you actually get it. But damn. Anyway, so I'm going to try and make my way through this cast, guys, without coughing and spluttering too much. I know you'll bear with me if I do choke up a little bit, but I will try to keep it away from the mic as best I can. But I wanted to bring this to you because you guys have done really well, actually. You've kept the complaining to an absolute minimum, and I'm so grateful because I know it's a long time. It's been like 2.5, 3 weeks or something crazy since the last cast. It's just a ridiculous amount of time. So apologies for that, but we're going to rectify it right now with a custom 6v6 on Canis 8mech 6v6. That's right, not the adaptive version, so a little bit of change here. How very exciting. I'm ready, you guys are ready, and the players are sure as hell ready. So let's go on over to the game zone and see how they're going to get on. Chang, ka-ching, instant loading, that's what we'd like to see. So you can tell immediately, slightly different thing. Layout here to the adaptive setups. Every player has got 8 mechs dumped right on their doorstep, quite literally, and then you've got these little pockets of denser mechs distributed about the map. So grabbing these sections will be a major boost to your economy and your team eco. It will be utterly important to grab and hold those. So team distribution, you've got 4 in the regular base section, 1 over here at the plateau, and 1 here at the valley, mirrored of course on both sides of the map. We'll call this team 1 up here at the top, this team 2 down here at the bottom. Going first for team 1 up here at the top left, it's Tathniel, and he, she, they, all pronouns in operation today. Going Spetsnaz green, and opening first land going UEF. Team member number 2 for team 1 to his right, it's Trapper, going Cybrin, Spiky Space Socialist, and Elephantine Grey opening first land. Team member number 3 down here, next UEF, this time going first air in Electric Blue, it's Artist Nabate, or Artist, we'll be referring to him over the course of this one. And team member number 4 over here in Vivacious Violet, another UEF, third one on the day already, it's Beptep. And as we said, Vivacious Violet, another first air opening there for him. That's all of the core players in the main base section for Team 1. Over here in the valley, we've got Dead 6, the highest rated player at 1500 for Team 1. And he's going Regal Purple, going Seraphim, opening first land. And last but not least, another Cybrin, bless him. It's Tovarish Cookie over here going first air in Baby Blue. That's where we have it for Team 1. So 2 Cybrin, 1 Seraphim, and 3 UEF for Team 1. Slow it up a bit while we introduce the guys from Team 2. Already away on his way across the river there in Pontiff White. It's Dionysus. He's going Cybrin, and he opened first land. Team member number 2 to his left, it's Kid in Mellow Yellow, going UEF, opening first air. Up at the front for the main base section, it's Anemia Amnesia, going Baby Pink, going Cybrin, first land. And last in the main section for Team 2, Rampage 21, lowest rated player of Team 1, and the whole game, incidentally, at 0. Very wide-ranging global rankings on today's game. It's he's going Seraphim in Ferrari Red, opening first land. Over here at the Valley, we have Shinobu, today's highest rated player at 2300, and I don't know for sure, but I think this could be Yudi. I apologize if I've got that wrong, but When I got sent the map, the replay, I'm pretty sure someone mentioned that. I've lost my link, incidentally, to the handy username utilities that used to tell me all of the other previous names that people used to go by when you type in a name. If anyone's got a new link to that or something similar, do let me know, because that was so useful for casting. But anyway, here he is. We think it's UD, but one thing we're sure of, he's bloody good at the game. 2300. He's going combat green there, going cyber and going first and second land. And last but not least, because I can hear things kicking off elsewhere on the map, on an upgrade already, our first and only Aeon of the day. It's Wet My Nappy. How very appropriate. In fecal brown, even more appropriate. Look at that. And 30% done on a T2 upgrade, and he went first land. So what have we got? 1 Aeon and 3 Cybrin, a Seraphim and a UEF there for Team 2. All the races in operation there for Team 2. And you can see very wide-ranging global ranking, down from 0 up to 2300, 1300 to 1200, and then an 800 and a 500 there for Team 2. Team 1's a little bit more condensed around the centre. Haven't got that sky-high rated player and that 0 rated player. But you'll notice that almost all of the players are pretty much, with the exception of 2, Average Joe's qualification. I haven't listed this as an Average Joe. If I remember to explain why at the end of the cast, I will do so. But there is a reason. There's method to my madness somewhere hidden under very deep-seated layers of apathy and neuroticism. There is some kind of method. Oh, don't laugh. Excuse me. That's not good, is it? 3 minutes in of an epic and we're already hacking up. I'll do better, I swear. Game quality at 91%, so almost what we consider to be a balanced game. Considering the variations in global ranking, that's not too much of a poor achievement there. First few engagements have been kicking off around the map, but nothing stunning in the first 5 minutes, as you wouldn't expect. Over here on the left, Wet My Nappy advancing, throwing down some T1 PD. We've got a whole bunch of Mantis crossing over the causeway of the river, heading south from Team 1's main base there, belonging to Trapper. ACU up at the river there for Artiste, and he's going to throw down a couple of land factories, help secure that area. You can see the last few clusters of mexes, the clusters of 4 mexes now being collected. A little bit slower on the uptake over in the Ish for Tovarish Cookie. Needs to get a move on there, going straight for a Magno. Give himself a little bit of intel before he commits to picking up those mexes. A few mexes under threat here for Kid, as Dead Six shows up with a couple of Thams and starts tickling away at those. One little engineer running for his life, and cheeky little run by down here potentially. A few of those Mantis we saw creeping their way into Team 2's base section, and a bomber in over the top there from Beptep. They go after those mexes. One down already. There goes a second. A couple of cheeky little kills there. And one defending T1 bomber for Team 2 from Rampage. Just struggling to get a vector on anything there, as those last few Mantis goes pop. Bomber for Beptep blown out of the sky there, thanks to cheeky little tracer pop down here by Shinobu. And Tavarish managed to pick up those mexes, only for them to get a Mantis-style beatdown here from Dionysus, who rolls up, takes out the Magno, and then starts hacking away at those resourcing options. Pretty solid bit of pressure coming down the south there from Artist and from Trapper. Combined attack bearing down on a forward position of Rampage. Doesn't look like he'll be holding that factory for very long. Responses queued up potentially from Shinobu and Wet My Nappy. I really hope he dies soon. No offense, sir, but I can't continue to say that with a straight face throughout the cast. Please, just walk headlong into a T2 army. Do it for me. T2 upgrade for him, complete. Throwing down some Oblivion turrets over there. Struggling slightly with the relief of the land, blocking some of those shots. And look at this, T2 upgrade on the way for Dionysus, who's really quite far forward indeed. 50% done on that, but already taking fire from a renegade belonging to Tavrish. And there's no anti-air to speak of in this area, so Dionysus looking a little bit vulnerable at the present time. In come a couple of T1 bombers as well from Betep. Attack ping goes down on Dionysus, so those bombers gonna engage. Renegade much more concerned at the moment with killing anything that's coming out of that factory, but he is going to switch up towards the comm. That's 85% done and climbing that upgrade, so he's nearly finished it. I sort of feel like they could have got him to cancel that. That might have been the biggest threat, but in come a couple more gunships. This time they're Vulthus from Dead 6, and that is quite a lot of damage for a comm early on. He completes the upgrade and gets to work immediately on some tracers, but he's lost about a third of his health already. Completes that first tracer, abandons the others that he had queued up, and is going to wander back. But in comes a Corsair. Dionysus now below 50% health and falling fast. He's just got a few Sky Slammers in the area, which are helping, but he's about to go into the red. This could be an early ejection inside 10 minutes for Team 2. Dionysus in major trouble here. More tracers going up further back. Can he kill off the gunships in time? I don't think he's going to manage it. This is going to be our first ejection under 9 minutes, 8 minutes and 10 seconds. And out Dionysus goes, and a power vacuum now will ensue on this side of things. If there is a silver lining, well, it's not really a silver lining, but something positive for them to look forward. Anemia is in the area with her comm. It sounds like a comm, Anemia. Is that terrible? It's definitely a girl. But there they are, nearby, and it looked like might have cancelled that upgrade momentarily, but wouldn't be a bad move to try and get in there and plug the gap. Large numbers of T1 bombers out from Kid, heading north, looking to unleash some damage and make Tavrish pay for his crimes against his fellow teammate. Trouble is, it's T1 versus T2 tech up here. They get a volley of bombs off, which knocks down about a third of that T2 HQ's health, but only 2 bombers remain to get in a second bombing run, and that's the end of that little excursion. Look at this pressure from Dead 6, who's now plonked himself right on the causeway, actually in between a pretty large Cybran force from Anemia and the main base sections over to the left. Not choosing to be aggressive, instead happy to just defend that little crossing. And no engagement from Anemia with that full band of troops on the causeway, instead trying to push north and inflict some damage. Where are we at? Team totals on eco, well, there's hardly anything between them. 348, 337 in favour of Team 2, and then it's switching over 340 to 346 in favour of Team 1. So despite the loss of Dionysus, eco remains relatively stable between the two teams. Unsurprisingly, an advantage in total mass, but a lot of that will be scooping from Dionysus's dead base, so we can't take that too literally. Dead 6 now in the area with his commander, helping mop up the last few units, and in fact that causeway force of his being pulled back. Probably a sensible decision. It wasn't achieving much there. blocking off that causeway for the time being. Interceptors and Corsairs dance at the top right of the map. That's going to go better for Tovarish. Should probably just call him Cookie, but I quite enjoy saying Tovarish. Sounds Russian. Probably is a brand of Eastern European cookie. Ballsy play here over on the left from Wet My Nappy. Overcharges, flying frequently. To feel in the area with his commander though, throwing down plasma cannons en masse. And Wet My Nappy badly damaged, having to withdraw, and wants to be really careful here. He doesn't get cornered by Artist, who's got a lot of forces lurking, as has Trapper just around the edge. In comes Dead Six with another one of those Vulthus we saw take out Dionysus a moment ago, but this time there's a little bit more air coverage, or maybe not! Oh my god, Team 2 lose another player. Tovarish Cookie with the Corsair snipe. So that's both flanks taken out. That's a key position. That's the plateau in the bottom left. Of course, one caveat. Shinobu, the game's 2300 rated player, will be the beneficial recipient now of an extra base right on his doorstep. Pretty vital Team 1 move in to deal with him now, because he's going to be the threat. They should be piling all of their resources into either taking him out or at least containing him and not allowing him to secure that left flank properly. It's going to be a tough ask, that's for certain. Engineers already moving in that direction to grab that, and Shinobu already at T3 land as bricks start to enter the fray. And that's a major tech mismatch. It will be carving its way through Trapper's T1 and T2 forces here. Trapper best to move out with those units. He's thinking, I want to get in here and kill any engineers I can and slow up expansion. But I really don't think he's going to gain that much for his team by doing it. In fact, Artist piling in as well. Goes the Rhino. Another Rhino moving in up here. That's prioritized. Engineers spamming up mass extractors down here. Elsewhere, it's all very quiet. 15 minutes nearly up in the game so far. Team 1 way in the lead now. 606 versus 461. That drops down to 312. And that's probably because Shinobu's just power locked himself. Desperately trying to establish some T2 mexes down there. It needs to sort out his power situation first. That was probably the Hives just building this ion reactor, actually. Yeah, there we go. He's in the plus now. Control K on all of his T1 redundant P-gens. Engineers move in to grab those. Excuse me. And Dead Six calling for mass assistance as he's going for an experimental. Where is he doing that? We've got a chicken under construction over here. Reasonably early on. No hanging about. That could be major issues for Team 2 if sent in the right direction. Now it's It's all very quiet as everyone decides what their next play is going to be, whilst teching up and ecoing. Trapper concerned, presumably, for Tefil. Run like the wind, he says. Well, I'm busy getting my fire base operational, comes the reply. Up goes a Ravager. And that will be the end of this small stranglehold that Artist has on this side of the map. He can't contend with the bricks. Massively underestimated the firepower there. One T2 gunship going in against the bouncer. Just throwing mass at the problem now without achieving much to speak of. So airwise, lots of different players dipping their toes in. ASF numbers for Team 1 predominantly seem to be coming from Dead 6. Seems to be handling the bulk of the air defense load. Rampage 21 has got a few out down here. Shinobu, not particularly concerned with airplay as yet. Getting RAS on his comm. So on the face of it, actually, Team 2 look a little bit vulnerable, potentially, from the air. We've got gunships emerging from different players on Team 1, but they're yet to find a place to put them. Plenty of vulnerable spots. These are only T1 Nexus for the time being, admittedly, but might as well put them to use. Picks them up there. Rampage would respond. Dead 6 has air dominance. As long as you stay away from the Myrmidons over here, you'll probably get some work done. Those options not leaping out, it would seem, to any of our players. Massive Mantis pressure being brought to bear against Dead 6 forward position. A lot of T2 PDs operational here, though, with more on the way. How much trouble can they cause before the attack peters out? There go the last of the engineers in that little forward group. Now actually tearing through these T2 PDs nicely. A few T1 PDs around here with some wall sections dramatically would have increased this base's longevity, but alas, wasn't to be. Shield gen about to die. There it goes. Has a pretty solid bit of T1 play there. Backed up over here now by some Viper mobile missile launchers. Very nice work done indeed. And now in the far east, Kid going after the air defenses for the time being of Tovarish's base, but Dead 6 turns up with his air force and knocks that down pretty sharpish. That Burst Master now regenning 450 HP there. It's actually provoked a pretty major response on this side of the map as Artist withdraws his T1, T2 spam over here to help contend with Anemia. That's how you cause a ruckus, make a royal nuisance of yourself and affect the balance. And meanwhile, that allows Shinobu to advance. Got a few trebuchets down here, just lobbing shells in at that forward base. Incidentally, it looks like Tathiel withdrawing now that they've lost support from the centre. Shinobu just starting to look more dangerous now. The only player on the map with consistent T3 land presence being pumped out. How's that experimental going? Well, it's about 50% done. When did that get started? That got started about 5 minutes ago, I think, so it's taking a while. Dead 6 on about 280 mass per tick. Shinobu's on 510. So Tathiel, chip leader for Team 1 on 352. But that's bad news for Team 1. Shinobu sitting on 2 base, as we said earlier. Just looking scary already, and he's busy pumping out quantum gateways. Getting some SMD up, and presumably RAS preset. Yep, RAS preset. So this gap is only going to increase as he gets more and more support commanders on the field. That is the man to look out for right here. Tep completes the RAS upgrade on his commander. And look at this little fire base on the causeway for Team 1, just getting a royal brick-covered beatdown right now. That was a little TAC missile base. A few kills from it, but not an enormous amount. A nice scalp there, and now some counter pressure, some counter artillery play from Tathiel, moving out with some demolishers. These trebuchets relatively unprotected over here to the southeast, now getting a taste of their own medicine. Mutually assured destruction right there as the artillery barrages rain back in. That one badly damaged demolisher is going to dip back inside shield coverage. 1,000 flames on randomly named SAM launcher in amongst many other defensive structures deemed not worthy of their own name. How tragic. If they had a ribbon ceremony for it and everything. Massive mobile missile launcher barrage going in against this shielded base up here of Cookies. Shields keeping it out for the time being. They're going after the zappers. Shield's about to crumble. There it goes. There goes the zapper. Oh, hello. A few strap bombers in over the top from Rampage, who's been pretty quiet. And then there's another 3. Tovarish Cookie doing the Canis can as he tries to avoid any more incoming bombs. But in comes a concerted effort as well from Kid. Lots of T2 gunships, and that's going to be the first scout for Team 2. Tovarish Cookie bows out at 23.5 minutes. And that's going to pick up morale slightly, I think, for Team 2. They were 2 men down, but now claw it back to within 1. Nice to see Our 0 global rated player getting involved with a contribution that really kicked that little engagement off, followed up nicely by those gunships from Kid. Unfortunately, of course, he lost all of those in the comm explosion that succeeded it, but never mind. Dead 6 managed to finish that Ithota we saw earlier, and that is pushing its way in now towards Anemia, who is in residence at this base and wants to get her shiny, spiky backside moving ASAP. Too little, too late at this point. The attack ping goes down. Must have been outside on a smoke break, and there they go. So that little victory up at the top right-hand corner for Team 2 was short-lived as they lose their front man or woman, he, she, they, from the center. And that problem still exists. The Ithota, pretty healthy, still pushing on in now. Rampage defending valiantly from the skies with his strats. But this is wide open down here. Kid evacing with his comm. We've got rover drones hurriedly constructing Ravagers down here with the assistance of that T3 engineer. Should be enough, the 2 or 3 Ravagers and the Strat Bombers, to prevent that Ithota from getting right in here with its Iron Storm. Shield should keep out most of the damage, and there it goes. Nicely defended there for Team 2. "21 kills for that Ravager up front. 50 kills for the named SAM launcher. Gun upgrade on the way for Rampage. Interesting decision there. Gun upgrade. Back there, probably wouldn't have gone for that myself. Kid needs to work on his eco somewhat. Down on 169. Beptep, much the same. He's on 130. Is that a power lock though? Yes, it is. So this is a very, very weak point now for Team 2, and the natural alignment of attack leads them in from dead 6 up here. So that's where most of the pressure is going to be coming from. That's their main threat, and global ranking wise it's the whole main threat from T2's perspective. Another experimental, this time it's a fatty. In fact, we've got 2 fatties on the field, one for Tathil up here and one for Artiste at the causeway. Really know why I'm calling him Artiste. That's not how the French spell artiste. Definitely artist. Support commanders out everywhere, though, for Shinobu now, who's just nullifying any potential threat from the air. Would you look at the amount of SAMs? 28 SAMs littered in this corner of the map. So that's defending him nicely from the skies, allowing him to focus his efforts elsewhere. And he is almost about to break 1,000 mass. 957 mass per tick. That is unreal. Absolutely unreal, and it's only going to continue. The longer this game goes on, the more support commanders he's going to get. And he's assisting that quantum gateway, or those quantum gateways, with these hives up here. So he's just spamming, absolutely spamming these out. And it's 11 mass. Every time one of these rolls out of the Quantum Gateway with a RAS preset, it's another 11 mass. That is scary rate of increase. And he can just keep that going and going and going. And that is, if that carries on at that rate, that's going to be a major, major hazard going forward for Team 1. They need to get in there and cripple Shinobu or hamper him or do something, because if he's allowed to persist, the temptation right now is to go for the easy targets, march troops straight down here and take these guys out. But these guys aren't the threat. At the rate this is going, Shinobu will outpace the entire collective of Team 1 on Eco in 15-20 minutes, maybe less than that. Megalith taking some pot shots at that forward base. Doesn't want to hang around though. There's a fatty now under that shield. We've got Percival's under there as well, so they don't want to get too close. Interesting set of exchanges on that side of things. Broadswords out from Kid up to the midpoint over here. He's been favouring his gunship pressure over the course of the game. Trying to get shield coverage up to protect this wall of Gunthers. That is actually pretty damn impressive. He's going mass Gunther over here. But I love the T2 artillery supplementing potential fire from his Megalith, which I seem to have lost. Where's his crab gone? Oh, it's right there. Talk about tunnel vision. Looking for it down here. Now is this all-out attack? Is he going after this? The shields have collapsed on both the Fat Boy and the main base. The bricks are on the warpath. The Percivals come out to meet them, but they're definitely fewer in number. Megalith prioritizing the Fat Boy up here. Sticking with this fight, although you can see some air shenanigans going off up on the top right on Kid's base. Some gunships exchanging fire. Betep looks like he was harassing that position. Down goes the last Ravager. Up over here, so this forward base of Tathiel looked so strong a while ago is now a non-entity. And just artillery mayhem raining down on this section of the map. Loads of trebuchets. And that T2 spam for Artis needs to back up as a result. But across the river, meanwhile, a Fat Boy begins its traverse. We've got another one over here. A little bit of naval play over here as well from Tathiel. Getting all those governors in that central trench. Just awesome. Cutting down air options, spamming out missiles and anything and everything within range. That's if they're allowed to keep it. And we're getting so many Gunthers spammed up by all these support commanders now from Shinobu. And the trickle of SAMs is just moving right as these support commanders slowly migrate across the map, increasing the defensive presence for his teammates. Megalith up at the top left, badly damaged on 21,500 hit points, still pursuing this fat boy. This could be a bit of a mistake here, potentially. Lots of Corsairs being spat out of the air factories down here for Shinobu, which is really the first major air presence he's had in this game. Fat boy that crossed the river dips back in. Now we've got a summit, interestingly enough, in that middle trench. Dead Six hovering with his horde of ASFs, which definitely look like the most superior bunch. Actually, Tathiel's got a pretty decent amount up here as well, but combined they certainly overpower the paltry number of ASFs that Rampage has got. Could be subordinate number to just one of them. Megalith is still alive, down on 8,500 though. Lots of Janus up here, looking for an approach on that fat boy, I think, but Tathiel is quick to respond and screen with his ASFs and make sure that's not an option. Ooh, support commander, going pop just over the river here. I've actually got a dead fat boy, so I only count one belonging to Artist. There were two a little while ago, so I think that might have been his, crossing the river and not making it back in to the safety of the water. Broadswords crossing the river just in time to see a whole wave of Corsairs take out that T3 headquarters. Shinobu says, no thank you, no more boats in the river. Meanwhile, Dead Six takes out the crab. Shinobu tries to respond with all of those Corsairs, but they get wiped out by Tathiel's horde of wasps. Actually, a lot of those strap bombers will make it home, so that was a lovely little pick there on the left, taking out that crab. Another crab, this time belonging for Team 1 to Trapper, just guarding the causeway with a little line of Cerberus turrets as well. That's a lovely little piece of defense right there. One summit just getting pummeled now by all of the Gunthers in the middle, and look at the number of Gunthers queued up as well. Horrendous sights. Rampage going on the rampage. What are you doing, sir? Advancing with his comm into a massive wall of siege tanks. That was a horrible idea. If he'd brought in his strats a little bit earlier and thin that out a bit, that might not have been so terrible. Dead Six is just like, what was that about? Just walked into everything, not just the sniper bots. And now it's going to be really hard for Kid to try and fend this off. What's left of those siege tanks and sniper bots pushing into the main base now, backed up by shielded Percivals and a fatty belonging to Artist right over here. Doesn't look like Artist is making a solid beeline right into the main base though, unlike Dead Six. Dead Six going in for the kill. That's a lot of Ravagers. That's a lot of Ravagers. That's what you call being scared of experimental pressure right there. Trouble is, a lot of overkill in that. Siege tanks might actually break under the shield cover. Broadswords, though, to the rescue. And that threat is contained. Meanwhile, back up here, a new naval headquarters has been rebuilt, but I think that's a futile gesture at this point. There's so much T2 artillery raining down, and there's no way they're going to be able to keep hold of that. In fact, this little base, the other side of the river now, bang in trouble with the sheer amount of artillery flowing from south to north. And this time the Corsairs will hit their mark. There's no way the Fat Boy's getting out of that. That's a massive T2 airstrike. Wow, did I speak too soon? I spoke too soon! That looked like a goner for sure. There were so many Corsairs in that pile. But I think a lot of the airstrike consumed itself on the shield. And there's so many ASFs in that mix for Tathiel. Didn't even get close to getting a second look at that attack. And this forward base is just bang in trouble. The problem is that it doesn't matter that he's losing all of these aeroplanes because his eco is out of control. He's nearly at 2k now, Shinobu. He's actually got a lead for his team. It's 2 versus 5. Shinobu at 1.9k. It's 2.3k total versus, or 2.4k total versus 2.3k in favor of Team 2. Look at the spam. How many support commands are we looking at here? 110. He's got 110 RAS preset support commanders. That is just frightening. And another Ithota from Dead 6 trying to break its way in, but there's so much Ravager firepower under shield coverage back here. That was never going to make it. Add to that these broadswords as well, taking the edge off. There is a second Ithota though, and he's looking pretty healthy as he rolls in. But he's strolling straight through the ion storm of his teammate. Couple that with what we were just talking about, and bam. Dropping even further short. Just look at these Gunthers. Shinobu, a beast in this game. 52 static T2 artillery emplacements dotted around just here alone. Crab in the river takes massive amounts of T2 Corsair fire. Strat bombers inbound, looking for Kid's comm, I think, who's right down here at the bottom. That's where he wants to try and snag. Oh, T3 artillery now raining down. It's about that time. They're going after the Duke up the back, and they're going to get it. That Duke's actually been online for a while. I saw it about 10 minutes ago or so, but doesn't look like he's had any great breakthroughs, at least against Dead 6. I presume that's where that thing would have been trained. And just a relentless advance. We've just got support commanders just creeping their way up the map. It's not point defense creep, it's artillery creep at this point, just slowly pushing Tathiel back towards the main base up here. And now we're finally seeing an ASF presence out from Shinobu, the first real T3 air superiority fighter presence that he's had in this game. Wants to even it out, sick of losing all of those Corsairs. Hello! Strat bombers having some success down here against Kid. They took out the Duke, and there goes that T3 air HQ, and 3, I think. Certainly 2 associated fusion plants just getting picked apart bit by bit. Kid Still putting out 422 mass, but Shinobu now on 2.3k. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 quantum gateways running. It's just disgusting. Disgusting amounts of support commanderage. Team 1 just throwing everything they can across the river now. So Monkey Lord stomps his way across, trying to take out all the Gunthers he can. Corsairs and Strats converge to deal with that. But look at this pressure coming across the river now. A couple of fat boys bearing down on Kid, but Kid's got a whole horde of broadswords. And there's not that much in the way of anti-air ground-based from Team 1. Down goes the fat boy from Artist just as he builds another one. Dead 6 comes in to take out the broadswords, and Shinobu responds. And that still leaves one fat boy very much alive. In come a couple more broadswords. Oh, but they found his comm. Is it getting any shielding from the water? No, it's not. That is a lovely piece of detection right there. And Kid bows out at 41 minutes, leaving Shinobu all by his lonesome. But look what's going on up here at the top left. He is handing out the punishment from the skies. He's just got so much disposable income. He can just pump out ridiculous amounts of air power and keep throwing it at Team 1. And now they're converging in towards the main base. He wants to even it out himself. Goes after Trapper. The Corsairs, backed up by the gunships, take down Trapper just a minute after his teammate. Are they going to move straight on? Yes, they are. Looks like they're focusing in on Artist now, who's pretty heavily shielded. Trapper's base goes up. And there's more pouring in all the time. They're just flying over bases. Carefree. Corsairs, strap bombers, whalers. They've still managed to reach that base. Under shield coverage for the time being, but that blinks off. He's now right next to a fusion reactor. Don't stand there. So close to getting under shield coverage. He's made it, but how long will that shield of Beptets last? The answer is not very long at all. The whalers are lying in wait. Artist down below 1000 HP, and he goes out a minute later. Two massive picks up from Shinobu. How do you not have AA? Says Dead 6. And now Beptem. Oh my goodness. This is a spectacular batting collapse from Team 1. I think he's killed off all the strats on that run, but there's more coming in all the time. He's got another bomb off, and there's no hit points left. Boom, baby! Jesus, Mary and Joseph. And then there were two from Team 1. They've gone from a 5v1 to a 2v1 in the space of 2 minutes, if that. That's insane. And look at all of the forward momentum right now. Bricks across the causeway, pushing back the support commanders of Tathiel. So much ungodly talent. It's unnatural, I tell you. But secret weapons breaking in the back door. Dead 6 with siege tanks and an Ithota crossing across the remains of his teammates' old bases through a very undefended section. A frontier he's never had to defend before. Whalers and Strats and Corsairs scramble to take it out before it gets under the shield coverage to all of these hives back here. Hives that have been instrumental at building this lead for him, and they managed to do it. My god, look at the bugs queued up. All hell just broke loose. Meanwhile, of course, honourable mention to the static artillery that's been drifting north to south throughout the game. Hello, Yulona Os, under construction, Seraphim experimental missile launcher. About a quarter done and building, just over. About 30% maybe. Shinobu has lost a little bit. It's interesting to note. He's lost, I think he had a few of these mexes dotted around maybe. But he's down to a paltry 2k. He's lost about 300 mass over the last 5-6 minutes. Excuse me. Hoping terribly that the coughing isn't becoming too annoying for you guys. But I've been sitting on this replay for well over a week now. You understand why I was desperate to bring it to you. Because it's just insane. Look at the Strats pushing up towards Tathniel's base. Thought for a moment they might have been going after the commander, but it looks like it's the fat boy that's the concern, and they're going to get it, and everything's standing around it except for the commander. Of course, it's all mass that can be hoovered up by Team 1, so both comms in close proximity over here. Dead 6 pumping out the SAMs, and wisely so. Look what was about to break in. A bug with a whole horde of whalers. So we've got to have had, or have, there we go, there's the Duke. T3 static artillery coming from that direction as well. How are we doing on support commanders now? What are we up to? 131. Just grotesque. And he's ahead. It's 2k versus 1.7k. He's ahead of the combined total of Dead 6 and Tathiel. I just don't know how you break back from this at this point. It's going to have to go to standoff tactics. Didn't stick with the Gunther War in the end. Dropped back, and now he's going mass experimental. That has allowed this base up here to persist. Bit of stutter there with a sheer amount of stuff going on. Look at all of the bugs on the field. He reaches critical bug mass. He's going to be able to just roll through one of these bases. Now, how's that Yulona Os doing? Oh my god, it's nearly 50% done. And that will be a problem if Shinobu allows that to be completed. Dead 6 with decent amount of SAM coverage around it. Couldn't hurt to get a bit more though, judging by what we're seeing with all of these bugs that are emerging onto the field, and they are just rolling into ridiculous amounts of SAM fire. Looking for what exactly they're assuming. I think the support commander back here is one of the comms, and it isn't. That's a critical failure right there, and that's a huge amount of mass just deposited on the doorstep. They've missed the two comms. They are over here. Look at all of that reclaim that's now on Tathiel's doorstep. That is an error. A rare error from Shinobu. Getting carried away with his sheer amount of eco. Now there's another incursion from Dead 6 on the ground. Just going to chip away at this infrastructure. Remember, we had SAMs all the way over here at one point, and they've all been killed off. More factories going to go down. More collateral damage from his strats. But this will shake things up. Canis, and he's going to be able to build that incredibly quickly. That will get built long before the Lona Os. That's my take on it. The Lona Os is probably around 60%. I would expect that to finish a lot quicker. And again, he's lost a little bit here. So he's down to 1.8. This is not a given. Now, Team 1 have gained the lead, albeit temporarily, in terms of eco. Standard nuke out from Tathiel. Heading down towards Shinobu's base. And where's it going? Is it going down here? If it is, he's going to lose another set of 4 T3 mexes. That's going to hurt him again. Nice little nuke there. Down to 1.7, so just chipping away. He looked absolutely unstoppable about 5 minutes ago. Remember, this Canis will be taking up vast majority of his resources. It's just a continuous stream now of T2, T3, T1 and experimental units drifting across from Dead 6, which he's got to try and keep out. He's got to try and keep his support commanders out of the fray as well, if he can. Doesn't want to lose those. They've kept him in this game. Loses another one, but manages to take care of the Monkey Lord. Lona Os, about 3/4 done. Canis in the green, so that is definitely going to finish first. Going to want to get some shielding up around that. He's queued up 2 more. I think that's a little bit premature. Needs to get this one guarded and guarded well, especially since we've already got T3 static artillery raining down on this side of the map, which we do. But the Canis is done. He actually switches up and goes for a regular T3, but definitely needs to get the shield up and running. And Shinobu actually with a personal cloak on his comm now. And there it goes. What a beautiful sight the new Canis is. Just awesome. And his primary target has to be up here. Even though if he's actually scouted the Lona Os, yes he has, so he knows where it is. Dead 6 has seen the Canis is complete. Assuming that's what that exclamation was. Fat Boy crossing the river now, bearing down on the base. They need to get that bug back in the air. Maybe he's going to wait for it just to get a bit closer, because Tathiel with massive ASF superiority. Oh, he accidentally let one volley out towards Tathiel, but I'm sure he's going to switch that up. Oh, look at all of those kennels going up. Needs to Sticking on Dead 6. He's still going after Tathiel. Now this could be another mistake. Maybe he thinks he's got more time than he has. He can just damage Tathiel a little bit, take down the nuke launcher, maybe this Duke, and then go after the Yolana Os. Or maybe he hasn't even noticed it yet. He's definitely scouted it, we know that. Bug shot down out of the sky as it was brought out to defend against that fat boy. Strats coming in single file, not going to get an awful lot done there. Going after the Scathis, my goodness me, where's the extra shielding? Oh no! Shields blink off. Scathis takes a few hits, goes down to 248 hit points. The emergency shielding operation kicks in. Oh, this is looking bad for Shinobu now. He's still targeting Tathiel. The Yolana Os is in the green. Almost dead, they say. They know they almost got it. More pressure being brought to bear from the land to the east. 255 hit points on that Scathis. My God, it doesn't get any closer to being dead without actually being dead. And he's still going after Tathiel. I don't think he's realised it. I don't think he's scouted it, but he hasn't looked. Otherwise, you would definitely be going after this. Surely. He's taken out the Duke up here. He is creaming Tathiel's main base. There's no question there. That's really not good enough. This is your main threat right here, right now. As Fat Boy Slim would have said. Oh, actually getting heart palpitations watching this. And now he's switched up. So now he's going after the Yolana Os, but is it too late? You need more shields, says Trapper. From beyond the grave to his teammates on Team 1. Lot of power plants on shield coverage up here if he can break through. Yolana Os is complete. It's charging its first missile. Remember, it takes 2 anti-nuke missiles to shoot down each one of those. And the recharge is incredibly quick for a nuke launcher. Another Bug about to be shot down. He just can't contend with the aerial firepower that Dead 6 and Tathiel are putting out. Going to have to go to split screen as we keep an eye on these two theaters now. We've got that continuous stream from Dead 6 coming in on the ground against Shinobu's base. At the moment he's got a few bricks off center blocking them up here as they come in. Scathis on 500 hit points, says Trapper. Volley inbound. A little bit quiet from Tathiel as he tries to tech up, but down goes a few of the crucial power plants up at the back. Dead 6 power locked and his shields are down. Oh my gosh. The Yolana Os is exposed and in comes another volley. This could be huge. He hasn't even had a chance to fire a missile yet. They're blinking back on sequentially as they do, but... And again, I think the targeting was too high. I think it was going after the power plants. He's taken out a lot more, though. Worst time to power stall ever. I concur, my friend. Just about to get that missile done. couple of the disruptor turrets bearing down independently of the Scathis fire. Where is that next volley? It's on its way now. Meanwhile, on the left screen, Ethota walking into huge quantities of Cerberus turret fire. Not going to break through that. And there's the first and maybe only Yulona Os missile out. Because how can you contend with that Scathis? He's doing a bloody good job of trying, I'll tell you that much. Track the missile on the left screen as it comes in. I'm assuming he'll be well prepared for nuclear attack. He's already had one or two fired at him. One missile, and there's the second one. And there's 3 more loaded in that silo over here. We've got another silo here with huge amounts of support commanders now attached to it. It's got 1 loaded, and he's going to have to spam those out. Meanwhile, that Yulona Os taking fire, but still alive. 1 support commander left with its personal shield, shielding it. And it's from Tathiel. Look at that teamwork right there. Another power plant down. Dead 6. Has to make this work. He has to land one of those super nukes, or that could be the end from Team 2. Yes, he's pumping out
strategic launch detected.
All of this spam from down here, but it's window dressing at this point. He can't break through on the ground against these bricks and against those defenses. Second Yulona missile out. Massive shield operation underway, trying to keep that experimental nuke launcher guarded. 1 missile away. There goes another one. So that's another missile defended. Still 3 anti-nukes in that silo. And none now in that one. So he's got time, but he's got to get it taken out. Shinobu must just be thinking, what do I have to do to break through this shield? He's got the 2 disruptors here. And he's back up to 2.2k. Team 1's down on 1.9, so he's back in the lead on mass totals. He switches up. Why are you switching up? Going after Tathiel up at the top left. Don't do that. Go after the Yulona Os. There's another one. You can see where the target is. It's down here, and that would end things. Shinobu's comm is in the vicinity. They've got such economic power down there, such mass production, so much build power. You rarely see it, but I don't know if he can outpace those silos with even a Yulona. Yulona's taken a few more hits. Nuke shot out of the sky once again. It's the sheer blanket of fire which is so oppressive from the Scathis. This shielding battle. You've got to take your hat off to Team 1. They're doing amazingly, trying to keep this going. Oh my goodness. Gee, look at the map in terms of map control. Look at what Shinobu's sitting on. And yet all of the impetus is with him. As long as he can keep up
strategic launch detected.
the spam against the Yulonos. Oh, the shields are down. The Yolana Ars is still there with 2,000 hit points, and then a new shield blinks back on. I thought that might have been it. Another Yolana missile out and heading towards Shinobu. Still got 3 anti-nuke missiles. Seems to be keeping up with it just enough. He might have to switch to Scathis targeting once again to try and contend with the regular T3 artillery that's coming his way. We've seen him do it once or twice. The trouble is, you do that, you let them get shield coverage up around that super nuke once again. And it's already 2/3 done towards the next missile. We've got a chicken coming in the front door. This might actually get a little bit further than expected for the first time in a while. Support commanders brought out to defend. And that chicken dies, but it dies in the confines of Shinobu's base, and the Scathis has gone down, but so has the Yolana. The Scathis dies at the exact same moment from T3 artillery fire as the Yolana does, but the difference is Shinobu can just build another one straight away, whereas Dead 6 cannot. And I think that might be it. I think that might be the moment that Shinobu just won it against all of the odds because of his ridiculous eco and solid, even for a Cybran, turtle capabilities. Just needed a few more shield gens. I'm surprised he didn't devote like a few more support commanders just to putting a few more shield gens up around. He would have kept that alive, but all that does is extend it, really, I think. Valiant, valiant effort. And there goes Dead 6 on a Control K. He bows out. Doesn't fancy it. I don't blame him. Tathiel was up on 1.5k. What's he building at the moment? Anything? Almost wonder if that could have been eked out a little bit longer, but not with the Scathis building as fast as it was, I don't think. They get a few bombs away. Does the shield keep them out? Yes, they do. He's almost got a second Duke. Cloaked, no doubt, asking where Shinobu's comm was. The reply came from Shinobu right by the Scathis. And yes, he was the whole time, but yes, he was cloaked. And there's an awesome late game upgrade. Cloaked and shielded. And there's the new Scathis. On Megalith advancing through the river. Trying to lay into this forward base, which is a pretty awesome forward base, has to be said. It's got its own Duke up front as well. Loads of Clink Hammers and Ravagers. And where's he going to first with the Scathis? Is he going for this forward base? It looks like he might be. Yeah, that's going to be the end of that position, and it will allow him to expand out now, which he's already doing. Look at that. Look at all of the structures over here that never got scooped up. Snipe spree was definitely nice. That was one of the most awesome snipe sprees I've seen in all my years casting this game. Which is, it's 8 years, I think. 8 years. That is frightening. 8 years have gone by. I've been doing this. You guys keep watching. I will keep casting. Deal? Out goes the GG from Tithneil. And there goes the Control K. There was no way back from there, really. Wow, Shinobu. I mean, okay, fair enough. Look at the global ranking. It's a 2300 rated player, out above everybody else. And that is why I didn't actually label it an average Joe's, because you think about at least half of that game pretty much was Shinobu, Dead Six, who are both pros, and Tithneil, who's only 100 off, basically duking it out in the quite literal sense of the term between each other. So I was like, is it really an average Joe's? Because it's all about this guy. And if that is UD, which I think it might be, congratulations, you're disgustingly awesome. One day we could only hope to play like that, but it really is. Support commanders again, man. Get enough support commanders out and play the long game. You are just deadly. Hope you enjoyed it, guys. There's always more to come from me in the future. Don't forget, if you feel so inclined, please consider supporting me on Patreon. All of your support very gratefully received. This one has been an absolute monster. Can't wait to bring you another one, and soon. Until next time, guys, stay well and stay safe. This is Guile, signing out.